how your presence can create or can make or break your image.
There is a lot of content online, but I believe there is still gap if you want to create good content. And when I say good content, is something in your own voice, in your own brand tone, in your own tonality, with the right kind of positioning, the right kind of messaging, and the right kind of impact that you're looking forward to. Every woman should talk about is their own personal journey. And trust me when I say this, Priyanka, 90% of the women that I work with, they always hesitate talking about their own personal life, their own achievements. They could be the CEO outside and they could be killing it in their personal life, but they will not want to talk about it on social media. But if you are not talking about your own skills, your own achievements, who else will? Because you are your best marketer is something that I believe.
So earlier there was a belief that whenever the word marketing or branding comes in people's mind, they always connected with the products or the services or maybe commercial ads or something. This was the basic picture of branding. But nowadays, like, it is also associated with the personal branding.
Storytelling is basically your way of documenting your process and your journey. So story doesn't mean that you will say that once upon a time there was a king or a king. It's more about you processing your own journey and documenting it online so that you are showing your users and your readers, taking them along the journey of you. As you said, everyone is trying to be an influencer, but influencer doesn't mean that they have a personal brand. So you need to have a bar and understand ki this is something very personal to me, and this could be something that I should talk about online. Honestly, no one cares as much as we think. It's in our head, honestly. Like, it might feel like, okay, it's the same thing that she's repeating on the podcast, but no, honestly, no one cares. Talk about the things that you stand for boldly. So being yourself and being bold is something that works no matter how the algorithm is right now. You don't have to sugarcoat things or say it in a very diplomatic way. Diplomacy doesn't work on any social media platform.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Her Talks, a podcast by Women First Shops. I'm your host Priyanka, and I welcome you all. We all know that it is very important nowadays to be present on social media. But do you ever thought, like, should that presence be positive or negative? Or if it is negative, what impact it is going to create on your brand? Let's learn all about it. How your presence can create or can make or break your image. We have someone very special with us today. Let's all welcome Suhana. Hi Suhana, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for having me today.
So Suhana, before you became the LinkedIn top voice and one of the UAE's known personal brand strategist, who were you? What was life like in your early college days, I would say?
I'm not very much far away from my college days. Like, I graduated around like 4 years back. So, but I have always been a dreamer and very passionate about my writing skills. Before the LinkedIn Top Voice or even the top 5 personal branding strategist in UAE, I have been someone who loved dreaming a lot, and I have also been a rebellious kid, my mom used to say. I did what I always wanted and also got away the things with my way. Um, but the writing part in me was instilled by my father. He has been a very avid reader since I have known him from birth. So he used to have a very small library in his room, and that kind of made me very curious about books. So I used to read a lot of books, and I always thought about being a writer someday, an author probably, but life had other plans, and then I got into personal branding. So, but writing is the core of everything that I do today and everything that I am today as well.
Okay, but when did you realize that personal branding is your calling?
So before like 3-4 years ago, there was not much emphasis on the word personal branding. It was more about creating content, content writing, copywriting. So personal branding, I would say, is the upgraded version of personal branding. So I was in school when I wrote one article for our college magazine. Um, school magazine, and when I showed it to my teacher, English teacher, he told me that, Suhana, you write really well, and you're able to make a lot of impact through the content that you're writing. So I always wanted to get into writing, but personal branding is a refined version. So I started my journey as a content writer, did copywriting, and then eventually moved to personal branding, through which I help people who are not great with content put out their thoughts and articulate their ideas through content.
Okay. So nowadays we can see there are a lot of content on social media. In fact, on LinkedIn as well. So do you think that is LinkedIn becoming too much, just like Instagram, or is LinkedIn still a professional, or have we crossed that line?
So with AI, I think the bar has become very low. Anyone and everyone can create content. But I also believe that AI has also helped people tap into and know the importance of personal branding or creating content. While there's a lot of mediocre content online, as you just said, that there is a lot of content online, but I believe there is still gap if you want to create good content. And when I say good content, is something in your own voice, in your own brand tone, in your own tonality, with the right kind of positioning, the right kind of messaging, and the right kind of impact that you're looking forward to. So no, we haven't crossed the line yet, I believe. But I would still say that how you create content could be refined and made in a way that it aligns with your goals better.
Okay. So I want to understand, like, if a person, especially a female, if she wants to start from scratch, she wants to work on her personal branding, on her own content. So what is the first thing, first three things she should do?
Okay. So before creating content, my advice would be that you sit down and have clarity of your offer.
Right.
Because if you don't know who you are, what you stand for, and what do you want to be known as, there's no point going ahead and creating content. So the first thing is clarity, and having an offer, I would say, is the first thing. You need to know, how do you want to be perceived online? Do you want to be known as a leader archetype, or do you want to be known as someone very relatable and a friendly neighbor kind of a vibe you want to give out on social media? What services are you selling, or what do you want to sell? Or maybe if you're looking for a job, you have to define the persona that you want it to be reflected through your content. And then once you have that figured out, I think you could move ahead to having content pillars. So the basic content pillar that I would recommend and want every woman watching this podcast to know is, content pillars should be divided into like three things. One, it could be more about thought leadership, or your where you talk about the future that you see, who you are today, who do you want to be, and what are the things that you stand for. So that will reflect the kind of person you are evolving or becoming. And the second type of content that you should create is educational content. So educational content, I would say, is something related to a niche. For example, you talk about women a lot. So one aspect of that could be how women can build the confidence better, or how they can fight the gender gap in the market, or the pay scale in the market. So those, where you're putting and giving them takeaways that they can take home, that comes under educational content. And the third part, and the most important part that I think is every woman should talk about, is their own personal journey. And trust me when I say this, Priyanka, 90% of the women that I work with, they always hesitate talking about their own personal life, their own achievements. They could be the CEO outside, and they could be killing it in their personal life, but they will not want to talk about it on social media. But if you are not talking about your own skills, your own achievements, who else will? Because you are your best marketer, is something that I believe. So these are the three things that I would say you should have it very clearly in your mind before moving ahead and building a personal brand for yourself.
Okay, so earlier there was a belief that whenever the word marketing or branding comes in people's mind, they always connect it with the products or the services or maybe commercial ads or something. This was the basic picture of branding. But nowadays, like it is also associated with the personal branding for the founders and the CEOs as well. So, what do most CEOs and founders get wrong about personal branding?
I was having this one conversation with one of my clients last week, and he was telling me that I believe everyone should set aside a marketing budget for their own personal brand. Because when a real person, so no one knows your product or your service better than yourself. You can
Right.
have a 65% of the people in your team who are killing it, but they will not be passionate or know much about your product than you being the founder. So when you're passionately talking about something online and you're documenting your journey, you're building it in public, people try to associate you with that particular niche and they trust you better. So any personal profile, like even if it's a B2B, many people in B2B will come and tell me that I think we are very professional and we want to keep the tone very professional. But at the end of the day, I think you are talking to a human being behind the screen.
Right.
So, and trust comes from one-on-one, person to person. You will not go and trust. Of course, you will do, but you will not 100% trust on a product that is being marketed or run as an ad. And CEO endorsements and celebrity endorsements are a huge reflection of a personal brand. We trust because Shah Rukh endorsed a brand, or we associate that particular brand with Akshay Kumar, let's say. He is a very fit person, so if he is endorsing a brand that is in fitness, obviously we'll trust and believe that that person is associated with that brand. So, so I believe that everyone should do that in terms of personal branding. But people think that okay, my marketing team and the ads will handle it. But in today's world, in 2025, I think it's so important that you set it aside a marketing budget for yourself.
Okay. So we have been listening that you are advocating a lot about storytelling approach and all. So what that does that really means to you?
For storytelling, so storytelling is basically your way of documenting your process and your journey. So, story doesn't mean that you will say that once upon a time there was a
Right.
king or a king. It's more about you processing your own journey and documenting it online so that you are showing your users and your readers and taking them along the journey of you. So, if someone has been following you from day one and knows exactly what you do, the mistakes that you have done, and the things that you have failed at, they tend to trust you better. So, when they trust you, they'll eventually come to you when they have a particular problem because you are that relatable person online and anyone who could trust you on that.
Okay. So see, I personally believe that everyone has their own forte. Everyone knows the skills better for that particular stream, for that particular department, I would say. I know my what I'm doing, like you know what you are best in something. But nowadays we can see that over the LinkedIn and Instagram that everyone is becoming a career coach, everyone is trying to become an influencer, everyone is talking about giving the medical advices, and everyone is become trying to become a doctor. So don't you think that these things are getting very commercialized these days?
I think so. I think a lot. I think the downside of content creation, I think, is anyone and everyone is trying to be the expert on the market, and people are able to sell it. I saw this one particular influencer. She has lost like 15 kgs of weight doing some diet, and now she's giving people tips and tricks, while there are people who are studying nutrition and then dietetics and then spending years of their life studying it, and then someone else on the internet is doing it. So I think that is a downside of it. But having said that, we need to regulate how the content is being created. I think the UAE government has bought in the influencer permit and then advertising permit and a lot of other stuff as well. So we are getting there, but there's a lot of regulation that needs to be done. But as you said, everyone is trying to be an influencer, but influencer doesn't mean that they have a personal brand. So I think two things that people mistake in terms of content is, if you're creating a content doesn't mean you have a personal brand. Personal brand is when someone associate you with a particular niche or the work that you do. I'll have to give you a reference of one of our industry experts. Her name is Shreya Pattar, and she advocated for charge in advance, while 90% of the creators in India were not charging in advance for their projects. Everyone were waiting for the client to pay them at the end of the month, and most of them were not getting paid. So she started advocating for charge in advance, and even today, and everyone in India or in abroad associate her with that particular name, that okay, she started that. So what you stand for and the values that you are going ahead with, if you are not vouching it through your content, I don't think you have a brand per se. It's more just you're creating content and you have a social media platform.
Okay. So you work with a lot of founders and CEOs as well as the women founders as well.
Right.
So what do you think, what holds women back the most from being visible online? What is there which they think that that should not go online, but still everyone wants to share the things online? So, you can understand, like, there is a thin
Yeah.
line, right?
Yes. So there is a difference between authentic and the difference between being too personal online. So you need to have a bar and understand ki this is something very personal to me, and this could be something that I should talk about online. I'll tell you the difference there. So if something happens in my personal life and I'm going through something, and not like some in my work or anything, more of in my personal life. So how much I share it online, there has to be a bar there. But if you cannot be the only person and have a personal brand by being that I'm 100% perfect, I don't make mistakes, or I don't have failures, or let's say I run XYZ company in Dubai and I have never faced any bad review for a client or anything. So personal brand is about being authentic, but also knowing when to draw the bar there. So now coming to a question, I think I have diverted a little bit. For the founders and female founders specifically that I work with, I believe that most of them don't want to talk about their achievements, which I have mentioned earlier in the podcast. They've always feel that it's okay, I did it. And if you as a women founder, you'll also understand that it is relatively more easier for men to sit down and say that I have done that. But for women, they have a lot of self-doubt. They are very self-aware of their own skill sets. They are very much critical about what they do. So I think they need to let go of that feeling and then move ahead on talking about their own achievements and skill sets very confidently, I believe.
Okay, so I mean, like, related to this answer which you have just shared with us, but sometimes people think that I'll give my example. I'm a founder,
Yeah.
and within 3 years we have achieved a lot. But
Yes.
sometimes I feel like, oh, why to share everything on social media? People might think that I'm boasting a lot, and but still there are few struggles, few limitations which I want to share, which I want to talk. I keep on writing on LinkedIn, I keep on sharing the things, but now and then this thought is always there in my mind, and I'm sure other people also
Yeah,
can
very
relate with
much.
this thing that, oh, you're sharing a lot, you're boasting a lot, she's boasting a lot about it. I mean, these kind of a thoughts.
I think when you're talking about it in a way, I think I'll give you a different perspective there. So if you're talking about your own achievements and you're also talking about your own failures or setbacks, it will be easier for me as an audience to trust you and feel that, okay, this person really gets what I'm trying to say. And this will also give a perspective to the audience that she is not 100% perfect. She has her own set of problems
Right.
that she's talking about, but again, she's also talking about the things that she's achieving. So from a content perspective, I see it into like three type of things. One is your personal content. As I said, you mentioned about your setbacks and failures online, but you don't talk about your achievements a lot because you feel that's boosting. And other type of content that I feel as a content strategist is aspiration content. So you're inspiring a lot of people, and what you're doing with her talks, I think you're also inspiring people. And if you're not talking about what you're achieving, you're not inspiring people out there. So if you see it that way, I think there's a lot of shift that could happen.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know from your end, like, have you ever faced imposter syndrome? I know your journey. You were in India, you moved to UAE, new country, new place, new dreams. So, how did you deal with that?
Honestly, I think everyone feels like an imposter. And as women, we have a hormonal cycle and our own cycle of ours, our hormones ups and downs. So that is very common, especially for women. For me, like last week only, I felt like I have done nothing in my life. So it's a recurring thing. So how you get back to is I have a journal where I note down. I call it gratitude journaling. I learned it from one of the influencer here in Dubai. So I note down the things that I have achieved in my life or day to day. Let's say I'll go home and then I'll note down today that I did a podcast with Priyanka today. So on those days when I feel like that, okay, I feel like an imposter, because we still do at the end of the day.
Right.
So when I have that feeling, I go through my journal, I read the things that I have done. So that makes me feel better. And if not, I know that, my periods are coming up very soon. So yeah, you feel better after it anyway.
Okay. See, you recently mentioned that, in the question when I asked you about you should share your achievements just the way you share your setbacks or limitations as well. Uh, so, what kind of advice you would like to give to the females, to those who think that, oh, I'm shy, I'm not that confident, or whether I'm writing it? Because, see, I also keep on being into that sector of career and development. We keep on meeting the females, and I always tell them that if you are applying for a marketing job and your LinkedIn is empty without any portfolio, nothing is there about marketing, or maybe you are going to apply for a sales role and you are not writing anything, there is no presence, not even a picture, nobody can even relate. At least your presence should be there, you should post something. But how do you deal with such founders, or maybe the CEOs, or maybe the females? I'm sure you keep on meeting
Yeah.
such females on your daily basis.
Yeah. So that is very common, as you said. Most women don't have an online presence. And in my daily life, like in Taudif, in Abu Dhabi that I went to, I met around like 40 female students and people looking for a job. So they have a good portfolio. They have done degrees in aviation and all of that. But they have a very empty LinkedIn profile. So that is for the job thing that you just said, that when you're applying for a role,
Right.
no one will find you. And they don't even have a profile picture. So I think that stems down to something how we women has been nurtured from early childhood, that don't do this, what will people say, and all of that. So that kind of reflects on your LinkedIn. So my advice for anyone, any female founder or any job seeker is, honestly, no one cares as much as we think. It's in our head, honestly. Like, it might feel like, okay, it's the same thing that she's repeating on the podcast, but no, honestly, no one cares. If you feel that, okay, what will the society tell me, or what will people talk about it, they are anyway going to talk about you. So why don't you give them a reason to talk about it? And for founders specifically, I would suggest that visibility is a huge aspect of your business. In today's world, if you are not visible, no one cares how great your product is. Yes, marketing cannot fix a bad product, but a good product needs proper branding, and there are hundreds of products in the market which have not done well because they were not marketed enough.
Right.
So why are you giving people a reason to talk about you when you don't have the visibility and you don't achieve what you are trying to achieve?
Okay, so whenever I open Instagram, I like keep on seeing the reels that now the algorithm is saying this, it has changed. Some influencer is posting a post that now the LinkedIn has changed the algorithm and all. So do you really believe that you need to be controversial, or you need to be bring some kind of a hook to be aligned with that algorithm, or like
Changes, yeah.
without. Okay.
The algorithm has honestly changed, I would say 100%. LinkedIn is not the same that it was 3 or 4 years ago. Similarly for Instagram. Initially, it was very easy for you to get views and likes and comments 2 or 3 years back. Anything you post, you'd go viral. But now everyone, so the traffic, it's the simple supply and demand
Right.
thing that is happening. But you also mentioned that do you need to be controversial? I would say no, but you should also very much talk about the things that you stand for boldly. So being yourself and being bold is something that works no matter how the algorithm is right now. You don't have to sugarcoat things or say it in a very diplomatic way. Diplomacy doesn't work on any social media platform. If you're able to say, like on this podcast, as I said, that no, honestly, no one cares. I cannot go and sit down and tell you that, I think you should post or I think you shouldn't
Right.
do it.
Right.
You do it or you have the consequences. So bold takes really, really works for any social media platform, and the algorithm has honestly changed. So the best way we can deal about is try to adapt. So adaptation is the only way forward for life or any social media platforms. If you're not able to adapt to the changes, you fall behind.
Okay. So, what is that one unpopular opinion you have about the content creation?
One very unpopular opinion that I have is many people thinks that Instagram is the only kind of content. Creating reel is the only kind of content. So I think there's a huge gap in the market that people think that, oh, I'll do reels and I'll talk about it. So LinkedIn is a very underutilized platform, especially for business owners, because there are hundreds of investors eyeing on your profile if you're creating content. And as I said, I'm a 27-year-old lady, and I have not done much in terms of you see it like career wise. But I have a registered business in Dubai. I have a team in India who are looking into it. We have worked with some of the greatest D2C founders in India, and we are working with some billionaires and people who have like multiple established building in Dubai, all because that I have been very active on LinkedIn. So start on LinkedIn, or because Instagram, as you said, there's a lot of
There's a lot. Yeah.
there's a lot of content and
Yeah.
people out there. So I still believe that LinkedIn is still underutilized by a lot of people from my experience.
Okay. So, for everyone, those who are listening, can you give few advice for the people who wants to, or maybe who got motivated after watching your episode and they really want to start the content building from 2026? Let's start from 2026. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how they can start?
As I said, first you have to start with optimization. So let's start with the basic. So optimization is have a very professional headshot or a nice picture of you that reflects your true personality. Use that as a very clear HD picture and put it as your profile picture. Have a banner that says what exactly you do and who you do for. Like if I give you an example, I would say I help founders and coaches build thought leadership and authority online. So you will also have your own USP statement that you can start with to talk about
Okay.
online, and then have a optimized profile, and then eventually move to content creation that you should always do.
Okay. Nice advice. Well taken.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to understand if you get a chance to rebuild your entire portfolio or the work what you are doing at the moment from the scratch, how you want to start?
Okay. So let's say if I start from zero, the first thing that I would do is I'll reach out to people who are doing really, really well in the kind of niche that I'm in right now or I want to move into. I will ask them the right questions on, or maybe do something for free for them, maybe design a banner or write a content piece for them. And then I'll make a portfolio out of it. So mock portfolio is something I will start with so that I can showcase that, okay, this is the work that I have done. And might sound controversial, but if I'm starting from zero, I'll be happy to start at a very minimal rates so that I have the experience and the work to showcase to the people, and then eventually start outreaching to people. So when I say outreach, I'll reach out to 10 people who might need my services, get on a call with them, show them this is the work that I do, and then work with them either in exchange for a video testimonial or a testimonial, or maybe at a good price.
Okay. Nice. I think it's more like a collaborative advice.
Correct. Yeah.
Collaborate with the people, and you grow, they will also
They will
grow.
also grow.
Yeah. It's a very great advice, I would say. Okay. So, is there any advice which you would like to give to the females, those who are watching this episode through this platform?
Okay. So, one advice that I would like to leave today is be confident about your own achievements. Be confident to walk into a room and then say the things that you have done. Because the only thing I believe that females are lacking behind, including me, I also feel very shy. Like in my portfolio, I have not included my own work because I also somewhere deep down I'm guilty that my work should speak for myself. We also have this notion that my work will speak for itself. I don't have to boast about it or talk about it. But once you let that go, I think you will see the kind of impact that you're creating. Be confident about your own skills, talk about it freely, and own the stage, is what I would say.
Okay. I think this is a wonderful advice. You should own the stage and
Yes.
with full confidence.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do with confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Suhana, for coming and sharing such an insightful advices and thoughts. It was lovely talking to you.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed talking specifically around, women and women entrepreneurs. So that was very reflective, and I really, really enjoyed being on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you.